following program is from NET.
An educator at the University of Islam, Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan. To our distinguished platform guests, to our beloved brother and principal, Brother Delius Wilson, to the wonderful and beautiful brothers who are a part of this great graduating class of 1970 and 71, and to all of you, the parents, the well-wishers, and the friends of these graduates, it is indeed an extremely great honor and privilege for me and for the Nation of Islam and for my distinguished and beloved leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to have been asked and invited to deliver the commencement address to our graduates. The black man of America is in serious trouble. He's poor, ragged, hungry, naked, and out of doors. He has been taught to believe in a mystery God, and those who teach him of a mystery God are his murderers, his oppressors, his robbers, his exploiters. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us that God never intended for man to be poor. Therefore, he created an earth for us that is a very wide expanse, 196,940,000 square miles of earth, 57,255,000 square miles of land coming up out of water, 139,685,000 square miles of water. And this great planet, weighing 6 sextillion tons, moves at the speed of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour as it makes its revolution around the sun. And that great ball of fire that the astronomers call sun, with its great fire sometimes belching out flames 10 to 30,000 miles from her surface, warming our planet, bringing up vegetation out of our planet. How could the all-wise God, who created every creature to find something out of the earth and out of the sea to feed itself, to nourish itself, to perpetuate itself, to sustain itself, how could that all-wise God have created us to be poor, ragged, hungry, naked, and ignorant? How could a God that wise have done this? We must understand that this is not the desire of the Creator that we be poor. This is the desire of our oppressor that we be poor.
Minister Farrakhan became the speaker as a result of him speaking at our school twice. And the first time he came, he had a fantastic impact on the brothers there. And then he came a second time. We had the whole school down, and like, of all the speakers we've had at the school, we have never had anybody come there who could like have the whole auditorium silent for 2 hours, just for, you know, an occasional clap. So we have a democratic process of selecting speakers, and what we'll usually do is have send a ballot around with some speakers' names on and let the brothers vote on it. But this year, we knew who our speaker was going to be, so just to make it look democratic, we put a few names up, and then, you know, we voted, and that's how it came about. A unanimous decision.
Was his invitation extended solely for the students or for anybody else?
Well, his invitation was extended partially for the students, but mainly for the adults, because like we have a lot of disillusioned adults. Sometimes a lot of our parents are disillusioned about things. They hear the word Muslim and they say, you know, they just get all upset. But we wanted Minister Farrakhan to come for an informative, just to let the people hear what he's saying. A lot of people, when they hear, I've said to people, Minister Farrakhan, he's from the Muslims, the first thing they say is, he's a Muslim, you know, blah, 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 they killed Malcolm. This is the first thing that comes out their mouth. This is why we wanted him there, because we knew we'd have a mass of people who would come in and just hear what the man has to say. And as you can see, the result was fantastic.
We look upon the baby, we love the baby, we're tender toward the baby. It's a new life, it's a new beginning, it's a commencement. But yet we can't honor it in that state. We just are loving and tender to it. And it grows. And as it grows and matures, finally we see it begins to flower, to blossom, and to bloom into something of honor, something of greatness that we can bow to. But in its first state, it is dishonored. And so it is with a people who have been mired down in ignorance. Their state is as the state of a sperm, undeveloped. Undeveloped, therefore in that state, there is no honor to that people who are steeped in ignorance. White people know what we are talking about, for in their first state, they were not honored. In the hills and cave sides of Europe, there was no honor for white people there. But when a prophet, a messenger, Moses, went to them, they heard the voice. And they came from the caves to seek their own. And now today, white people are honored and respected throughout the world, not because of the color of their skin, but because of the accomplishments that they have wrought through the knowledge that came to them. I'm not arguing their morality at this point. We'll leave that for some other time and another occasion. But we are saying that they have accomplished much here through wisdom. Now, brothers, graduating class, you are in your first stage of knowledge. And when I say your first stage of knowledge, we don't mean your academic knowledge. You're in the first stage of your knowledge of black self. For every one of you now are beginning to love your blackness. You're beginning to take pride in your blackness. Isn't that right? All right. To show pride in your blackness, you may wear a dashiki. You may wear an afro. You may take on some of the cultural paths of black people. But in your first state of knowledge, the world cannot honor you. The world says, they are awake. The world says, they're coming to themselves. But in that state, the world cannot honor you and me. So what must be done? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the black man must fill his head with knowledge. Fill his head with wisdom and understanding. And as that sperm cannot be honored in its first state, we who will receive knowledge, wisdom, and understanding will grow and grow and grow into some kind of being that the world will say, there goes Brother Kareem, Brother Muhammad, not James Jones, Harry McGillicuddy. Here goes Etikwa Lumumba. Look at what he's done. Look at what he's built. Not look at his diploma. Look at what he's accomplished against obstacles. This is your challenge, black brother. You must make a commitment this day to your people. These are your parents. Some of them 50 and 60 and 70 years old, on their way down into the valley of death. You are their new beginning. You are their commencement. You have the hopes of your parents on your shoulders. What will you do with them? Will you dash their hopes against the rocks by becoming junkies? Will you dash their hopes against the rocks by becoming so white-minded that you will strive for material things and forget the suffering of your people? Will you get wrapped up in some fine office building or some fine company of white people and say, I've got it made now? Is that where you're headed? Will you go to college from here to party, to play, to smoke reefers, to fornicate, to commit adultery, to live a low, cheap life that our slave masters have taught us to live? What are you going to do? We want to know and hear from you, not tomorrow, but today. What are you going to do? When white people open the door to let you into college, they're not letting you in because they love you. There's another trap for you if you're not wise to see your way around it, and that's why I love the valedictorian and the salutatorian. They were saying we've got to open our eyes to see the trick. What kind of foolishness is that you want to engage in? You can't help your people that way. Don't go to college for simply to play sports. The world never honors, the world of wisdom never honors basketball players. The world of wisdom never honors football players. The world of wisdom never honors song and dance men. You've been clowns and buffoons and sport figures too long. I know I'm exciting a few of our guests. No, I don't mean to excite you. I don't mean to excite you, nor do I mean to make you angry, nor am I showing off. But this is their commencement. And for the first time, you have been bold enough to bring someone to a commencement that can make it a real commencement, not something that's just said to be said. This is my own flesh and my blood here. And when we see them going on, we don't want them to go on empty like we went on empty. Therefore, we intend to give them something to begin with. So you be patient with me just for 5 more minutes. If your seat gets hot, just fan it.
Minister Farrakhan, thank you very much for granting us this interview. Could you begin by explaining, perhaps, what the basic philosophy of the Nation of Islam is?
First, we would like to thank you for honoring us with an invitation to be a part of your great show, Black Journal. The basic philosophy and teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is very, very simple, and it is basic because it is basic to the very need of the black man or any human being. Freedom, justice, and equality. The teaching of Messenger Muhammad is designed to free the black man mentally. He's a mental slave to his oppressor, as we have been taught, reared, and mastered and educated by our enemies. And our enemies have not educated us in a way that we would be serviceable to ourselves and our own people. They have trained us to be better tools of service for a country and a system and a government in which we have not been able to get equal justice. So Muhammad's teaching and philosophy frees us mentally from the chains of mental slavery. It frees us spiritually from the worship and belief in a false religious message which was given to our fathers on the slave plantation to cause us to believe in some spook or mystery God that existed beyond the sun, moon, and stars, and we were taught to believe that we would die and get a very nice heaven in the sky while we worked to build a heaven for white people while they live. Muhammad's teaching makes us to see the reality of God, that God is, he was, and shall always be a man. And when man exercises knowledge, wisdom, and power, he's absolutely exercising the godly force within himself. So we're not looking for any mystery God to do something for us. We're uniting to do something constructive to help ourselves.
I notice frequently the two words so-called Negro and the devil are used.
Well, anything that is so-called means that it is called this, but this is not actually what it is. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that white people nicknamed us Negro. If we look at that word, Muhammad teaches us that it means something lifeless, something dead, something neutral. And after white people had taken away from us our names, our language, our culture, our religion, and absolutely divorced us from our past, and then taught us an alien philosophy, taught us in their strange way, then we became a neutral people. We were dead to the knowledge of ourselves. Therefore, we couldn't take a stand on the side of self. And being black with a white mind, the white mind made us want to gravitate toward white people, but the black skin caused them to reject us. So here we were in a no man's land, a neutral, a Negro, dead mentally, dead morally, dead spiritually, lifeless and hard. So we are so-called Negroes, not really that this is some name to describe a national identity for black people.
Obviously, there are no white people in the Nation of Islam.
As it is written in Scripture, when Jesus was talking to his disciples, he said, "Go ye not in the way of the Gentiles, nor even in the way of the Samaritans, but go ye to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Here was a prophet mission to a particular people to do a particular work. The lost sheep, we believe, is a symbolic way of representing the pitiful condition of 30 million black people. The white man today has had all of the prophets that he will ever have. You don't find lions looking out for tigers. It is the nature of every creature to look out for itself first. We cannot blame the white man for looking out for himself first. But where we find fault with the white man, and then we can't even find fault with him, in this way, this man has built up his power off of the sweat and the blood, the robbery and the rape of black, brown, red, and yellow. That's not racism. That is the downright wickedness that's in the very nature of the white man. That's why Muhammad uses the word devil, that the man is evil and wicked by nature. We don't fault the white man for this. This is the way he's made. And anywhere you find him, if you find him in Mecca, if you find him in Japan, if you find him in China, if you find him in Africa, you will always find him doing the same thing. He can't help himself.
I notice you quote from the Bible.
Yes, the Quran is the book of guidance of the Muslims. But we were reared in the Christian West. We were reared under a people, or we say Christians and Jews, live in the West, and therefore the scripture that these two people have, the Christians and the Jews, is the Torah, or the Old Testament, and the Injil, which is the New Testament, which comprise the book that we call today Bible. Now, as Muslims, we believe in all of the scriptures brought by the prophets of God. But since we were reared in the Christian West, under a Christian teacher, and we had only scripture we ever had in our hands was the Bible, Muhammad first elevates us and teaches us by giving us the true interpretation of the Bible, then lifts us up into the wisdom of the Holy Quran.
One of the points that I frequently see in Muhammad Speaks in What the Muslims Believe is that integration is impossible, and it is now time for separation of black people from white people. How could you separate from white people in a country that is 90%?
Well, my dear brother, we are already separated. The white man is just now admitting you into some of his social equality, but he is not admitting you into the workings of his government or into the workings of his economic system, the inner circle of it. You are still kept out from that. We are separate where we live. So what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wants us to recognize is that we cannot get along in peace with white people. And if we cannot get along in peace with them, why shouldn't we separate? But the separation should not be a form of segregation, which means that we are separate, but our separate status is controlled by our enemies.
Would this be separate states, a separate land that we would all move to and live on?
It could be. It could be. If the government desires that we be separate, since the forcing of us into their society has now produced very grave results. The black man today is a very angry man. He's angry with white America, and white America is angry with a free slave. The black man today wants something of his own. The white man today wants to keep us at her feet, begging her for the necessities of life. So this is putting the two people on a collision course. America cannot survive war without and revolution or insurrection within. So the wise solution is let the black man go, as it was with Pharaoh in Israel. Pharaoh had to recognize the fact that Israel had now grown to be a great nation in the midst of another nation that had to be free to do something for self. And this America is recognizing today. 30 million people is a lot of people, brother. That's a whole nation. You have on the African continent many independent African nations that don't number 30 million. You have islands in the Caribbean that are independent and they don't number 30 million. Here we are 30 million people with more education among us than our brothers in Africa, Asia, Central and South America. Why shouldn't we pool our education and pool our resources to build up a great independent nation of self? Since white America doesn't want us, she proves every day that she hates us with an army full of black men and a navy full of black men and an air force full of black men that white America intends to send to war to fight to uphold a government and a country that absolutely deprives the brother at home of justice. Why should we be insulted like this to have our own black brothers fighting and dying for freedom that we cannot enjoy? Why not say like the people in the days of Moses, come on, let's buckle on your boots and shoes and let's go build a government of our own. And whenever you want gold, you don't find gold on the surface of the earth. You got to go deep down under the surface to get gold. Whenever you want diamonds, you got to go deep down in the earth to get a diamond. Whenever you want a pearl, you got to go deep down in the ocean to get a pearl. And whenever you want the greatest of men, you got to go to that man who is deepest down in the mud of civilization. So the greatest of black people are those who suffer the most. The drug addict is like that because he understands that something is wrong with the white man's world and he's trying to escape it. But he's the most mighty black man in Harlem, the brother that you find on 115th Street and Lenox Avenue. Whitey, when he comes by here and he sees the young brothers, he says, well, this is his trouble. Because these brothers, you can't hook them on no foolishness called religion that got them looking in the sky. These brothers refuse to look in the sky for anything. So these are the brothers, the fearless young brother that's giving the white man trouble. So the only way he can stop the brother is to send drugs in the community to kill this youth before it can ever flower and blossom. But among these brothers right here is a great black general. Among them right now are scientists. Among these brothers right now are those that can fashion a world, but they don't know it, and the people will never see it until the mud is removed. And this is what Muhammad did for us. Most of us, a lot of us in the mosque, we were in the same condition yesterday. But Mr. Muhammad took us and cleaned us up. Why should we get our own food, brother? Because you know that the white man got all these stores. And since he don't love us, he sells us the worst meat for the highest prices. Right. He sells us the worst vegetables. He sells us poison meat. So if we're going to live a long time, and brother, this is the only life we got, we want to look to each other. Right. See, you are the beautiful one. Not me, not us, but it's you, the people. See, because we come around here and the television cameras are on us, we're not the big shot. The people is the big shot. See, we got to learn that this little life, it has but a short time to live. So if I can live this life to serve you and to serve you and to serve you, then that makes my life valuable. But there is no value to me if I don't serve you and help you. You understand? That's the way we're supposed to live.
Right.
May Allah bless you, brothers. Together. Look at this young, strong black brotherhood. How you doing, sister? How you doing, brother? No, you're beautiful. You're the beautiful one. Because what we want Whitey to see is that though he can think he's destroyed us, he put drugs all in the block, and he makes us to think that we're nothing. Yet, in your heart, you know that you're somebody, and you are something. Muhammad wants you to know that you're the original black man. There was no man on the earth before the black man. You didn't have no brown man, you didn't have no yellow man, and you didn't have no white man before the black man. We are the greatest. All we got to do is get up today and be our beautiful black selves. See, and the thing that white people hate is to see us showing love to each other. What he likes to see us doing is this. See, when he see a black man, excuse me, brother, when he see a black man hitting a black man, cutting a black man, shooting a black man, Whitey drive by and say, well, them niggas are all right. They're doing just what I want them to do. But when he see us shaking each other's hand and walking like we in love with each other, then the enemy gets scared, because the unity of us is what will stop the condition that we live in. So, brothers, wherever we are, we should unite, and wherever we are, we should learn to love each other as we never did before. May Allah bless you, brothers. Thank you. Thank you. Let's begin, brothers. Let's begin. I wonder, did you hear the voice? Come on to Muhammad and rest from ignorance. I wonder, did you understand that God blessed the child that has his own? And if each one of you would be people who love yourself as a people.